Hi everybody, I'm Hector Garcia, CPA. I'm probably one of the best known QuickBooks trainers in the world due to this YouTube channel. And one of the very common questions I get is, Hector, how do you set up all these sample files so you can teach QuickBooks without damaging a real company file? Now in QuickBooks Online, that is kind of tricky. Now there kind of is a workaround. If you go into Google and you search QBO test drive, and usually you go into whichever result and you click on that, and then you click on whichever one it is, QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Online Advanced. It really doesn't matter. They're all pretty much the same thing. And you go into that, and then you certify that you're not a robot, hit continue, and it logs you into a sample QuickBooks Online file called Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. Now, this is great because there's current data from the current year, and you can run reports and all that stuff. The challenge with this is QuickBooks doesn't really keep up with the sample file. So anytime a QuickBooks has a big change, such as a recent interface change that they have, it takes a while for that to make it to the sample file. Also, not all the features work in the sample file, so it's actually less than ideal. But if you want to do a quick demo or something like that, this is great. You can run a standard report, a P&L, do a couple of transactions, and kind of move on. The challenge that we have with the Craig's landscape, using this method, is that if you add any new transactions and then you log out and log back in, those transactions are not going to be there anymore. So it kind of only works for that specific login session that you're in. So QuickBooks Online, in my opinion, they don't really do a good job at creating a sample learning environment where you can just test, add things, delete things, and that sort of thing. Now, that falls short of QuickBooks Desktop. I don't know if any of you that are watching this used to use QuickBooks Desktop, but QuickBooks Desktop used to have this awesome feature where you click on Open Sample File, and it gives you a whole bunch of different sample files. Well, depending on which version of QuickBooks you have, if you have the Premier or Enterprise, you have all these extra sample files, and you can pick contractor business, manufacturing business, law firm, whatever, and then you click on that, and it loads a sample file and it goes through a process of loading a sample file that you can log in, do anything that you want with it, delete. It's really, truly a great learning environment. You don't get anything like this in the QuickBooks Online world. So I used to love QuickBooks Desktop for having that. So what I'm going to show you is kind of a hybrid. It's taking some of the learnings from using QuickBooks Desktop sample files and then working with a 30-day free trial of QuickBooks Online. So I'm going to log out of this, and you're going to have to follow the instructions step by step. It's a super tedious process. It's annoying, I know, but you have to follow the process step by step. First thing you're going to do is you're going to go to a specific link. I'll put it in the description, which is my affiliate link for QuickBooks Online. This is the link I give to everybody that watches my videos, because if they go and buy an actual real QuickBooks Online account, they have to create a real company file, a real business. This link gets them a 30% discount for 12 months. But that's not the reason why I'm promoting it through here, although it'll be useful for you to take that link and save it. The reason that I use this link is because this link has a true 30-day free trial, and the true 30-day free trial doesn't require a credit card. So if you put a credit card and then forget to cancel or whatever, then it's a whole hassle to get a refund. So this way you could truly use it for 30 days, and then after you are done learning QuickBooks or teaching QuickBooks or whatever, just cancel the account. Or of course, if you're a business owner that wants to use QuickBooks after playing with it and testing it, use the same link and create a real account. So the next step is you're going to add your email address. So let's say, for example, I'm going to create a email address that's just for this purpose. And what I do is I create email addresses under my own domain name anytime. But obviously, if you don't have that ability, just use your real email address. If the email address already exists, it won't let you create an account. It will force you to log in. So you gotta have to figure out whether you're brand new to the QuickBooks world and you're using your regular email or a brand new email or whatever, or if you have to sign in using a regular login, just go ahead and do so. There's actually no harm on doing that. So I'm gonna sign in, and then I'm gonna use the regular process to log in to create the account. So after I log in, it's going to take me to the process of creating a brand new company file. So if I already have company files already in here, it will list other company files. You're going to click on create new company file, or if this is the very first time you log in and you've never had a QuickBooks Online account, it's going to go straight into the page where you're going to set up the company file. Now it's going to ask you a bunch of questions. You can follow the process. I'm just going to, let's do a law firm, for example. So I'm going to call this sample law firm or something like that. Click on next. And then it's going to ask me a bunch of questions. Again, if I'm only going to be using a 30-day trial, whatever I answer here is kind of inconsequential, but you do have to answer a couple of things. We're actually going to import a QuickBooks Desktop sample file. So all of this information is going to be partially overwritten. So it's really not that important to what you answer here. Just make sure that you don't go into like any setup process of entering bank accounts or connecting phone numbers or creating payroll accounts or creating payment accounts. Just like try to choose no skip for the most part. Just kind of like skip through the process. That way we can get through it. In some cases, it just skips right through and goes into the home page. But if it does ask you all these questions, make sure you answer. And again, try to be as evasive as possible into deep setups, because we are going to import a desktop sample file, which I mentioned earlier, which I thought was like the gold standard of working with it. So once you're in the file, don't follow any of these setup processes. We're going to ignore all that. And then we're going to go into the settings button on the top right. Just click on settings over there. And then we're going to click on import desktop data. Again, we're skipping all the setup to go straight to desktop data. Then it's going to tell you the way you should do this is you should go into your QuickBooks Desktop and do the export from there, which you could do. I actually have a different video that explains the process from QuickBooks Desktop. However, a lot of these people I talk to, maybe they don't even have QuickBooks Desktop, or maybe they don't even have a PC on there. Like, for example, I'm working on a Mac. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to grab a sample file, and I'm going to give you access to the sample files that I have already prepared for my own training. And you're going to use this option that says alternative, use our online migration tool. This is QuickBooks creating a virtual version of QuickBooks Desktop that you can use right there in front of you to do the data migration from a sample file on desktop into QuickBooks Online. And I recommend to right-click in here and do incognito. Always do that, just because it just acts weird. So just trust me, if you don't do that, you're gonna get errors. You gotta remember when I said use the incognito mode. When the new tab opens, when you select the incognito option, you're gonna click right there where it says Get Started. It should open a new tab, and it's gonna ask you to log in again. Now remember, it doesn't remember your password because you went to an incognito window, and then incognitos don't remember any other sign-in processes that you may have used in the past. So you have to log in again, and it might ask you to double check with your phone or whatever if that's the case. Okay, the next page is going to say upload your QuickBooks Desktop company file. So as I mentioned earlier, I have this bunch of QuickBooks Desktop company files that I prepare. I prepare them every year with current year data. Now I'm going to give you a link. It's a Google Drive that looks like this, and it has all sorts of different files: law firm, graphic design agency, engineering firm, training and consulting business. Every one of these is actually part of the same QuickBooks Desktop sample files, but I download them and I prepare them so they can be used in this type of setting. So you can, click on any of these, click on download, and put them in your computer. You can swipe all of them, have them in a folder the way I have it. I recommend doing this. So then you grab any of these, the ones that you want to use. For example, I want to use a law firm. Click and drag that into the area here that says select file. You click and drag that. It's going to upload the QuickBooks Desktop company file. And then when it's done doing the upload, it's going to run a simulated version of QuickBooks Desktop on into its servers that you then are going to do the same thing you would otherwise do if you had QuickBooks Desktop in your PC to do the conversion process. But what I really like about this option that Intuit gives you is if you have a Mac and you don't have QuickBooks Desktop, or even if you have a PC and you just don't have QuickBooks Desktop, or you don't have the right version, or it's too old or too new or too complicated, you can just use this process. That way it's independent on whether or not you actually have a desktop version of QuickBooks to do the conversion process. So then once QuickBooks Desktop loads, it's going to say something like, we're updating your company file. It's going to go through a little bit of a process to update it, to put it on the latest version of QuickBooks Desktop, because these company files were created from QuickBooks Desktop 2021, because that year version contains 2025 data on them. So it just has to do like a quick update, and then we're going to see the next step. Then it might ask you to create a password for the desktop file, and the reason for that is because QuickBooks changed the policy where all the desktop files need to have a password. So you have to just create the password and that's it. Just keep in mind that that password doesn't matter, because that's just a desktop file password, and you're never going to be accessing that desktop file ever again after you finish this conversion process anyway. Now play close attention to everything I'm about to show you step by step. This is going to ask you whether you want to get started or see your data in a 30-day free trial. Technically, you could go this route. The thing is that you kind of undo what we did earlier on creating an account just for this. So we're going to click on Get Started and not see your data in a 30-day free trial, because there already is a free trial set up that we did earlier. We're going to click on this option that says Bring all your company data, and click on Continue. Then it's going to ask you, do you want to sign in to an existing account, or do you want to create one? Again, because we already created an account, we're going to click on Yes, Sign Me In, and click on Continue. And then we're going to put our credentials. Then it's going to ask you, do you create a new company or use the sample law firm? Again, the reason why I'm asking you to do these specific things is because I want you to have a 30-day free trial without a credit card required. The problem with creating 30-day free trials or creating new companies is that you don't know how long they'll give you until they ask for a credit card. So like for the purposes of having a real clean sample file that will last for 30 full days, where you don't have to worry about the credit card you put in there, you want to follow this process, and you want to select that company file you created using that original link that I gave you. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're just going to click on Export. And at this point, it's just a waiting game. This will take anywhere between 2 hours to maybe half a day, depending on how big the company file is, how fast the internet wants to be that day. These sample files are not that big, so in my experience, this takes roughly 2 to 3 hours. So at this point, you can just let this thing do its thing, and then once it finishes 100%, then you can close out this window and then get back into your QuickBooks Online. Now, just a bit of a warning, you can stare at this if you want to, but it'll hang around 99% for a while. So I would recommend that just, minimize the browser, work on something else, and you're gonna get an email notification when this process is completed. So don't worry about that, just wait for the email. So once it's done, you'll get the email letting you know you really don't have to do anything else on this screen. So I can just close this screen, nothing else I need to do, close that screen, and then go into my QuickBooks Online account. When you log back into QuickBooks Online or refresh the screen or whatever you had on the screen, it's going to go to your what's called the Migration Hub, which will let you know if there's any balances that don't match. And if you were doing a real migration, all this stuff matters. Since what we're trying to do is just have a sample file so we can work and play with, we're good to go. Now I want to click on this little button here in the top so you can see which email you have used to log in, and then I'm going to click on the gear icon and then click on subscriptions and billing so we can kind of see that ticking time bomb on the free trial. So this one says you got a QuickBooks Online Advanced free trial. It ends on September 11th. So I have 30 days from the time I did this video to play. It's not going to ask me for a credit card. It's pretty amazing. And then, of course, after 30 days, then you will have to decide what you're going to do. So I'm just going to show you really quick just so you can kind of see. I'm going to go into reports, and then I'm going to go into the profit and loss report. And then it already has data in it, which is pretty amazing. If I'm going to say, let's say, for example, this year to date, the QuickBooks Online Advanced Insights are already activating. It's already giving me suggestions on how to improve my business and all that. It's awesome, right? You have fully functional 30-day free trial of QuickBooks Online with like data that you can actually use to train people to play around. You can drill down into any of these things. There's invoices, there's expenses, there's all sorts of things. I mean, if you're a trainer or a consultant, an accountant, and you're training a small business owner or an employee, or you yourself as a student, this is probably going to be the very best way, specifically, particularly, so you can get data from reports, right? Because that's really the nice part. Now, there's an argument to make for using a blank data file to test, right? So everything that you're sort of creating on the fly, you're building. But if you're going to showcase reports or want to learn, really play with reports, you got to have good data there, so that way it's all good. You can do comparison reports. I can do monthly, for example, I can do monthly reports here with the data that's in there, and these sample files that I have there, they contain data for all of the year 2025. And every year I go in there and I go back and remake them all to have the current year data, because it's always best to use current year data. Now, you could use a sample file from like 2009 data or 2030 data, but it just doesn't feel right. It just feels best when you have current year data, because it's, for the people using it, it feels tangible, it feels real, it feels real world. So I think this is the absolute best thing. So if you do truly like this, put a comment below. Let me know that this type of content is useful for you. Like I said, all the links are going to be in the description, so you can download all the different sample files, so you can test this with all 9 or whatever sample files I have. I'll do one more thing. I'm going to plug, if you're brand new into the QuickBooks world, I'm going to tell you, QuickBooks before and after Write tool is a whole nother ballgame. So I developed a tool called Write Tool. It's a Chrome extension, and the way you install it, you literally go to Google and type Write Tool all together, 2 T's, and then you're going to find the link that says Write Tool for QuickBooks Online Chrome Web Store. You want to be in the Chrome Web Store, and you definitely want to be in Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge or Brave. It needs to be a Chromium-based browser. And when you click on that, there will be a button here that says Add to Chrome. There's a free version. There's a pro version. Always start with the free version. We got 5-star rating. You can click on these ratings and you can read what people say. People love Write Tool, well, partially because I'm half the brains behind it. My partner Mark is the other half of the brains, but also because we listen to actual users on what they need for QuickBooks. You follow me in YouTube, you watch my videos because you get really, truly useful information from me. Many people in the comments have expressed how much my videos have helped them make a living, get out of accounting challenges, learn how to use QuickBooks, give them more confidence so they can run their own books. So trust me when I tell you, if I create value like that, can you imagine the kind of value I created by adding an add-on into QuickBooks Online? Start with the free edition. Once you realize how incredibly valuable Write Tool is and you start kind of playing with it, I guarantee you're going to want to upgrade to the Pro Edition that contains all sorts of incredible tools like batch deleting, batch editing, batch fixing, tools that help you really cut your time in half or by a quarter. As a matter of fact, I'll give you a quick preview. In this little settings button, when you click on that, you can actually get a little menu of all the things you can turn off and on. And every one of these toggles is one upgrade or change or enhancement we made to QuickBooks Online. So you turn any of these things on and then you refresh, and now your QuickBooks contains that feature. Now there's a lot to digest because there's over 100 features in here. So you are going to have to little by little start learning. We turn a bunch of features for you automatically by default. I'm actually going to reset these to default so you can see, we have a whole bunch of things off and on by default. And you can go into any of these things, click on the little eye icon next to the toggle, and then there's actually a video that explains just that feature and a little briefing on it. And if you're looking for enhancements in particular screens, so for example, I want to see what enhancements you did to invoices. Just type invoice in the search, and then it shows you all the features that are connected to invoices. Or for example, on bank feeds or banking or something like that. And then here's all the features that we upgraded or enhanced or improved about banking. Or for example, reports. So all the things that we did, improved and enhanced on reports. So you can search through them and kind of stumble upon the best feature. And this is all part of the YouTube channel. There's a YouTube channel just for Right Tool, and I'll put a link to that. So subscribe to that YouTube channel as well, because we have, I would say at this point, hundreds of videos, because we have one video for every feature, plus monthly update videos. We do webinars every month that we invite you to, so you can kind of see all the new things that we're doing. And we've been doing this for almost 3 years, and I'm telling you, we got the absolute best community of users that give us suggestions on how to improve the tool. So anyway, once again, if you find this useful, go into the comment section. Let us know, do you use Right Tool? Do you love it? Is this going to be useful for you? What other ways did you do training or sample files? I would love to keep up the conversation, because this one piece of content is one I've been holding out, because this is one thing, very unique thing that I knew how to do as an educator, but I had enough people asking me where I figured I'll just make a video and give you access to my knowledge on this area. Anyway, I hope you find it useful. Learn QuickBooks. Hope you love it like I do. See you in the next one.